Hello and welcome to another video tutorial back here at Geekatplay Studios. My name is Gary Miller and I am redoing my making a fancy window tutorial because I'm also going to incorporate creating a stained glass texture or stained glass type of construction for the window part, for the glass part. Partly in large part due to Gil B over in the forums who showed me what she had done with my first tutorial. She took it and added some, made it stained glass, and I kind of liked that. So I thought, well, let's also incorporate making it a stained glass window in this tutorial. So starting off with a cube, if you've seen my first one, you will no doubt recognize a lot of what we're going to do now. So I'm going to select those two edges. I'm going to add a chamfer to it, add 10 points. I'm going to bring my radius close together so that these two ends almost touch each other. I'm going to go ahead and validate that, select points, select that points, vertex modeling tab. I'm going to weld those 2 points together. I'm going to shift over here to the back, select that point, weld the one right next to it. There we are. I'm going to look up underneath it here. I'm going to select the bottom face. I'm going to turn on my soft selection and I'm going to crank that all the way to the right as far as it will go. Now there are any number of variations you can make to this. But Gil B first asked, how do you make one with a nice sharp radius point? And I particularly like this kind of window, so this is the method I'm going to use. Alright, so I'm going to stretch the top, the bottom face all the way down till it gives me that nice peak there. And I know this is doesn't look much like a window, so I'm just going to stretch it out now and bring it back up. And I like that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that face, and this is what I want to do differently, or one of the things I want to do differently than my first one. I went online and found some molding profiles, and I'm going to use these because I think it will help me create a better profile for my window than just guessing like I had done on my first one. Okay, so I'm going to select that face, swing around over here. Now what I want to do is focus on the profile, which will be a little green line. I want to focus on the profile that I'm making and not on the effect of the tool as I am working with it. So I'm going to come over here to sweep surface and I'm going to use the axial function. I'm going to come up like this, and now I'm going to come over here to the extrude function and I'm just going to make it level like that. And now I'm going to come straight down because this, I am now going to start following this profile here. So I need to come inward. And if I make a mistake, I can just Control Z and undo it. That's good. I'm going to validate that. I'm going to swing around and I'm going to select my face. I'm going to hit sweep surface. You know what? I'm going to abort that. What I want to do is first I want to come inward a little bit. Sweep surface, and I'm just going to extrude inward a little bit. There we are. Now let me click off of this. See what my window looks like. See, I think this is a lot better than my first one because I actually had a nice profile to follow rather than guessing like I had originally done. So when I thought of doing this to make the window better, I thought, well, I got to redo the tutorial now. Okay, now I'm going to click on the center face here, come over here to extract. I'm going to call that glass. And this is going to be window. I'm going to group these two objects together, and in their coordinates I'm going to zero it out so it's at the very center of my 3D world. Because now I want to come over here to primitives, I want to click on grid. I'm just going to create a random size grid, it doesn't matter. I'm going to type 15 here in the U, 15 here in the V. I'm going to click validate. Now for size, I want the X and the Y to be identical, so I'm going to type 100 and 100. Now this will cause my cube to be my my grid, each face in my grid to be perfectly square. Now I'm going to center this into my 3D world. Okay, I'm going to hide my modeling grid. Now I'm just going to scale this down to fit inside my window. I'm going to grab my window over here. I'm going to apply a color to it. A pink color is fine, or peach. And I'm going to add some invisibility to it, some transparency, because I want to be able to see my grid behind it. And I guess it could come up a little bit. Well, no, it's just fine because my glass window is in this. Whoops, is right inside of here. So right now my grid is plenty large enough. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to pull it forward a little bit so I can select all the edges that I need to. Okay, now we're going to create the stained glass portion. What I want to do is rotate it 45, and I'm just going to hold down the shift key to do that, and I want to have it on world selection. Now I might have to resize. Nope, it fits in there perfectly. Okay, it's good. It's the right size. Yeah, it's the right size. I got plenty of room. Alright, I'm going to come up here to select edges. What I want to do is make a selection. Let me pull it out a little bit more. I want to make a selection of all these angled edges. Gotta get those. I can't get those because they're occluded inside my object. And I don't want to get the edges though. I'm going to hit loop and make sure I got everything I want. That's good. Come over here to lines, and I'm going to extract curve. With all of them selected over here, I'm going to hit group and hide those. Come back to my grid, select edges, and now I'm going to select the angled lines. Whoops, the angled lines going the other way. Or are those the ones I already selected? Nope, they're not. Good. Okay. I'm going to select all these lines going this direction, but not the outside ones. And I will loop that. And I got all the ones I want. I'm going to hide that grid for now. I'm going to enable. Oh, you know, I made the same selection twice. I thought I was doing that. That's okay, because, come on now, select this group. All right. There we are. I'm going to select that group, and I'll just rotate it 90 degrees since I made the same darn selection twice. Okay. Now let's re-enable my window. Now because the frame of the window is so large, we can actually get away here by doing a little cheating. We don't necessarily have to make this. I'm going to have to change this material here. I'm not going to make it transparent anymore. Okay, let me come in here, let me zoom in, and see, I want my window to be, my stained glass, these edges here, these lines I created, to fall right inside the perimeter of this little edge cutout, the very last little detail I did when I made my window. So I want them to be right inside there. And it would probably be easier if I enabled my wireframe view so I could see where my edges line up. There we are. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is select my window group again, and I'm going to enable that transparency once again. Unlock these. Alright, now I want to select both of them, ungroup them, select all of them, and just to make sure that nothing is extending outside of the perimeter of my window like this. So I'm just going to make some selections here. Make some selections, and oh, you know what, I can't do that with all of them. I got to make each individual selection. Delete that. Delete that. And I'm going to pause it right here, and all I'm going to do is just clean up the border here of my window, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. All I did is select these groups of edges, points here, and delete them. If I had more time, I would do the rest of it, but you get the idea. All right, so all these lines, I'm going to group them together, and I'm going to come up here to surface modeling, and I'm going to click on thickness, and I'm going to dial down this number to create a nice, now I'm going to rotate it around so I can see the profile that I'm going to create based on the numeric setting of my points here. And it's either, for me, my personal choice, the 4 looks good because it creates these nice squares. But I'm thinking maybe like 5 or 6. 6 perhaps adds a nice look to it. I think I'll go with 6. Let's click off of that and see what it looks like. That looks pretty good. I'm going to select them again and ungroup them. I'm going to select all of them, Control A, and I'm going to weld them together because, well, I'm done with them. Assign a color to it, make a nice gray color like lead, and maybe I can even increase the lightness of the specular and bump that up a little bit. Call this lead. Okay, we are done with our grid here. We can delete that. I'm going to come over here to my group, and I'm going to ungroup that. Now let's see, I don't need the window, I need the glass, and what I want to do is apply a UV, I want to UV map it. So first thing I want to do is apply a texture to it, so I'm going to create a new texture and call it glass, and I want to apply a image to it, so I'm going to click texture image, and now I'm just going to navigate my way to where I know my image is. Alright, so here I've got the image that I want to put on it. I'm going to click on split screen here, and let me pull up my glass. I want to apply a planar projection to it, so I'm going to click on this little fella. I'm going to validate that. Come over here to select edges. Now what I need to do is I need to scale this thing so that, let me hide my grid, so that the picture is not stretched here. So what I'm going to do is pull it down. Oh, no, that's the wrong way. Let's stretch it up. There we are. It might still be a little stretched. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. There we are. Well, so now that the whole picture fits within my UV map, I'm going to scale this down so it fits inside, and there we are. Now, if this UV mapping process is foreign to you, I would encourage you to watch some of my other Hexagon tutorials regarding UV mapping, because I go into a lot greater detail and explanation. So I am happy with that, and we are done with that. So let's come back to a full screen view over here. I'm going to select my window and create a new color for that. I don't want that transparency anymore. I'm going to create a desaturated kind of brownish color, maybe a little grayer. There we are. Let's click off of that, and what happened to our, I thought that was supposed to be a dark gray. Oh, it is, it's just not dark enough. Let's make it a little bit darker. Let's try a little ambient occlusion here and see what we've got. Look at that. It's a beautiful profile for a stained glass window, and I think the finished product on this one is much better than what I had demonstrated in my first one. So this is making a cool stained glass fancy window right here in Hexagon, and it is already in the condition to export and to import right into pretty much any 3D application, because the texture for this is already, the location for the texture of this is already embedded into the MTL file that comes along with this when you export it. So when you import it and you're like to view, there's no assigning texture to it. It's already there. So that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching here at Geekatplay Studios. My name's Gary Miller. Have a good day.